against Toledo. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Fort Wayne's $100 or more a year. TV Fort Wayne.
We are back at the Hunting Center here in downtown Toledo. Kent Horman on My TV. Glad you could join us for tonight's Komet hockey game, the visiting Komets and the homestanding Toledo Walleye. We had a little bit of a delay because we had an interesting rendition of the Polish national anthem before the regular performance of our Star-Spangled Banners, so that's why we're going to be just a little bit late in getting underway. A good crowd has filed into the Huntington Center here in downtown Toledo. And as I talked about earlier, this is the Komets' first appearance here in the Huntington Center. The starting lineups for tonight's game: in goal for the Komets is Ben Meisner. The defensemen are Simon Denis Pepin and also Jordan Southorn. And up front, the Komets' top line, Scott Fleming, Brandon Marino, and Chris Auger. For the Walleye, Matt Caruth will start between the pipes. On defense, it'll be Joe Sova. And it'll also be Max Nicastro. And the forwards, Kevin Lynch, Alden Hirschfeld, and Louis-Marc Aubry. The referee tonight is Frederick LeBlanc, the linesmen, Sean Morgan and Ryan Daisy, and the teams come to center ice. They drop the puck, and we are underway, controlled by the Komets. Denis Pepin in his own zone across to Southorn. Southorn cross ice. Marino has it go between his feet quickly, banks it off the boards where it's intercepted by Toledo. Quick shot is flipped in that time by the defenseman Joe Sova, gloved by Meisner. And the face-off will be in the Komet zone. Just underway here in downtown Toledo. Komets coming in with a record of 13-11, 3-4 for 33 points. The Walleye have had tough sledding, 10-17 and 3, 23 points, so they trail the Komets by 10 in the division. Off the draw, it's caromed off the boards. Marino centers cross ice. Auger, the Komets with a 2-on-1. Auger comes across. A quick shot. Oh, a save that time by Caruth, as bidding for an early score was Fleming. Now Marino picks the pocket that time of Lynch behind the net, centered that time on the backhand by Fleming. Auger shot caromed a little bit wide. Now they dig behind the net. The Walleye try to punch it out. Great forecheck by the Komets. Marino bodies his defender off the play. That time Nicastro couldn't clear, and the Komets with an outstanding forecheck here in the first minute of the game. Now the Walleye try to cross center ice, can't do it. They're looking for a change. They just fire it in deeply. Meisner leaves for Southorn. Komets getting fresh troops on the ice. Southorn waits and fires the pass. Little too strong, that guy for Nukovic. It's intercepted. Stefan Thorne, the former Komet, with the shot high, and it's gloved by Meisner. Now, the Komet defense has played very, very well. The Komets have managed to pick up points in each of their last 4 games. They have gone 2-0-2. The 2 losses were overtime losses. And the Komets have only given up 10 goals in their last 4 games. Still looking for a little more pop offensively. Off the draw, Clark rings it around. And actually have 2 Clarks on the ice. There's a shot back at the point, tipped in front. Great save that time by Meisner. The puck caroms away, and breaking out for the Komets, Sidlowski tries to get it in. Embach is pinned heavily against the boards, and the Walleye break out. Flipped ahead. Martini and Thorne give chase. Thorne, first man in, chips it behind the net. Now Clark wrestling behind there and going to the ice on one knee is the Komet defender, Nathan Martini. Winds up at center ice. Now busting in for the Komets, Jace Coyle. He is a fine skating defenseman. Back the other way, Thorne steps in to Jeremy Gates, who is back playing defense tonight. Shot is centered. Komets can't quite come up with it, but reeling in is Ouellet. Back to the point. Hartman snaps a shot that caroms behind the boards, almost winds up in front, and putting the big glove down to smother it in the crease is the goaltender, Mac Carruth. 17:48 to go here in the opening period. We are scoreless, and the Komets have the lone official shot on goal. Kenton Miller in to face it off against David Gilbert. Draw is controlled by the Walleye. Hustling behind the net, now breaking out with the puck is C.J. Chartrain, but the Komets break it up at the blue line. That time a pass is chipped off the foot that time as Gilbert goes back behind the net. K's now try to pin it along the boards. Komets have had a great forecheck here in the opening 2.5 minutes. Now a good play, hustling behind the net and dropping it off is Carter in his Komet debut. A shot in the slot. Oh, it hits the goalpost. Karam's back out, and it's chipped out to center ice where Hartman controls for the K's. Comes ahead to Kenton Miller. He's 1-on-2, and the puck is poked off his stick. Walleye looking for numbers the other way, but Marino intercepts the pass. Now Marino comes cross ice. Briefly off the stick of Lynch. Southorn controls for the Komets. He'll back it up. Oh, it goes off his stick and skitters right in the slot. A little bit of a problem on the ice right now. A couple of water bottles have escaped the Komets bench, and they're on the ice right near the blue line. Southorn is stepped into heavily that time. He takes a look over his shoulder to get the license of that truck, and that was Alden Hirschfeld, who right near the half wall stepped into Jordan Southorn. This is the first of 3 games in 3 nights for the Komets. We'll get on the bus, head back to Fort Wayne after this one, and the Komets will have a morning skate, head to Kalamazoo for a game tomorrow night. Then the K-Wings come back to Fort Wayne for a Sunday 5:05 face-off. Now back to the point, a quick shot, wristed on goal, and that was a good snapshot by Max Nicastro and smothered by Meisner. So Meisner has faced some rubber here early on. Again, coming over with the team, Gary Graham said Andrei Makarov would need some more neurological testing, and any more, no matter what the sport, but hockey as well. When you have a head injury, a concussion type of injury, they really err on the side of caution and make sure everything is square. Auger dumps it into the corner. Now grabbing the puck is Sova. Chipped ahead. Lynch has it briefly, but intercepted by Fleming. Dumps it deep, but it's pinned along the wall. Sova, little backhand pass off the board. Southorn steps into his man as he returns the favor that time to Aubrey. Quick shot again off the body of Carruth. Now Southorn fires it on goal. That time Auger tries to redirect. It comes along the far board. Now Pepin is stepped into by Hirschfeld. Komets so far, I think, have had the better of the play as far as the pace and tempo and keeping the puck more in the Walleye zone. That's flipped ahead by Emerson Clark. Clark on a line with Aaron Clark, no relation. Emerson Clark is Clark with the K, and Aaron Clark has the E on the end. Aaron Clark recently acquired in a trade with Kalamazoo. And Aaron Clark has had a reputation for scoring a bunch of goals against the Komets. Now flipped into the K's zone. Meisner leaves. Jace Coyle controls. Feathers the pass that time where Martini pinned along the boards. Now he chips it ahead, and busting out for the Komets, here comes Sean Sidlowski. He's rubbed off right near the Toledo bench. That's caromed off the boards, and it winds up in the penalty box. So we have played just about 5 minutes of this opening period, 15:08 to go, and we are scoreless. So far, the Komets have outshot the Walleye 3-2. Reminiscing with the legendary voice of the Komets on the radio side, Bob Chase on the way over, talking about the history of this rivalry and the history of this Toledo hockey club back from the days of the Mercuries to the Blades to the Hornets to the Gold Diggers. And then in an earlier life, they were the Chill and the Storm, and now here they are, the Walleye in the ECHL. Since the Komets have come on board with the league, this is the K's second year in the ECHL. Meisner reverses his track and backhands the puck along the boards. Now in the Toledo zone, run down by Nicastro. Fed ahead, Novak tries to chip to center, but Gates is there to stop the play. Komets have done a good job stopping Toledo on any kind of a rush in the neutral zone. Now again, feathered ahead, a great pass, busting in, a quick shot. No, it's just a little bit wide, and bidding for the first goal of the game that time was Gilbert. Comes back to the point, quick shot, score. Nicastro fired it low on the ice, and it looked like it may have been tipped in by Gilbert, and the Walleye are on the board. Time of the goal is 5:43. Now we know Nicastro will at least have an assist. It looked like that low shot from the point changed direction, and it appeared as if David Gilbert had the stick on the ice and redirected it. And if indeed it's Gilbert, that'll be his 8th goal of the season. So back to center ice they come. Toledo wins the draw. Lynch loses it in his feet. And indeed it is Gilbert who gets the goal on the redirection in front. Nicastro picks up the assist, and Travis Novak does as well. The goal coming at 5:43, so Toledo on the board first, leading 1-0. Now a good job that time as Marino takes Hirschfield off the puck as the K's try to penetrate. Martini is in, but the Komets are offside. Now we have a timeout here at the Huntington Center in downtown Toledo. We will take a break. The Komets trail the Walleye 1-0. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Case Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne. Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Back at the Huntington Center, Kent Horman on My TV, coming out of the break and off the face-off, Toledo with a great scoring chance, but again, Ben Meisner repels a big drive, that time off the stick of Kevin Lynch. Now both teams are changing horses into the zone, being collected now by Richard Niedemall as he turns, starts it up ice, banked off the boards, and here comes Aaron Clark. Clark, as he's pinched along the boards, they get it behind, racing in to try to cut the puck off, and here come the Komets breaking out. Embach is out with Ouellet. Embach feeds Ouellet. Ouellet spins, centers in front. Oh, what a great attempt that time by Hartman, breaking in from the point. That time Caruth, though, able to repel the attempt. Hartman steps in, pinches Thornoff. A centering pass comes clear back to the point. A drive by Gates. Oh, Caruth never saw it. Centering pass, another big shot, blocked away by Caruth as Embach was bidding to tie the game and flipped off the boards back into the Komet zone. Meisner has to come out and play it as Thorne was breaking in. Now here comes Gates. Gates takes a look, drops it behind as he's stepped into by Thorne. Hartman spins around to avoid the forecheck of Rogers. Now Hartman comes cross ice. Gates, a pass, and it's got the backhand stick of Fleming. Fleming almost had a chance to break, but now he controls the puck. Southorn skates in as he takes the pass up high, tries to center, but that goes off the skate of Gilbert. Now the Walleye try to break out again. The Komets doing a great job of pinching off the Walleye at neutral ice. Marino tries to pick the pocket of Novak. Trying to center it ahead that time. Joe Sova Now the puck winds up back in the Walleye zone. Squirts through a couple of Komets. Here comes Gilbert. He had the first goal of the game. Quick shot! Blocked away that time by Meisner, who's been quick with the gloves so far. That time Pepin just bumps the Toledo captain, Kyle Rogers, off the play. Now here come the K's. Marino is busting in as he pursues Sova. Sova, right along the boards, a dangerous pass that Lynch manages to chip to center. Here comes Martini. Martini will break in. Sandwiches between a couple of Toledo defenders. Now he'll pursue as Auger covers for him on the point. Walleye, though, turn it back out. And here comes Gleason. Gleason to Lynch. Lynch just lets it go off the stick into the Komet corner. Martini, as he stepped into that time, a big collision of number 25's Louis-Marc Auger, and it was Martini who paid the price. Kaylee Schrock steps into his man. So the physical intensity picking up. Another big stop by Meisner. Now Oreskovich. Schrock races in and beats Oreskovich to the puck. He bodies into his defender, that time Phil Rock. Now the Komets trying to get something going again in the Walleye zone. Hirschfield breaks out. It's 3-on-3. 1-0 Walleye. We have just under 10 minutes to go in the opening period. Very fast pace so far. Carter is rubbed off by Nedemal. Now Stefan Thorne, the former Komet, comes cross ice. Breaking out with C.J. Chartrain. He comes across. Now hustling in with speed is Thorne as he knifes between Nutkovich and Gates. Oh, a big hit that time is laid on Louis-Marc Auger as Hartman establishing his physical presence. The Komets' pass is a little too strong that time for the newcomer Matt Carter, and it'll be icing on the Komets. 9:33 to go in this opening period. Right now, the Walleye have outshot the K's 6-5. Talked about it in our pregame show. This is the first meeting here in Toledo this season between the Komets and the Walleye. So for many of the Komets, including head coach Gary Graham, this is their first look at the Huntington Center. Now they fight for the draw, and it's pulled back by Nutkovich. Gates chips ahead. A little too strong for Mbach, but Nutkovich continues to fight through. He's bodied off the play by Nedemal, now behind his own net. C.J. Chartrain breaks it out. Chartrain ahead to Stefan Thorne. Thorne on the off wing, tries to slip by his defender, but a good solid body check that time by Southorn. Now a big hit that time delivered by Emerson Clark. So the physicality is picking up here. Drop pass for Ouellet. He stops. Fires just wide. Now Pepin keeps the puck into the zone. Ouellet behind the net. Nutkovich is bodied off that time as Gilbert, who has the game's lone go, helping out in his own end. Now Gilbert will break it out, feathers it ahead to Novak. Novak right down the slot, backhanded shot by Gilbert, and a great save by Meisner. Great job by Meisner to keep it a 1-0 hockey game. 8:40 to go here in the first period. It's 1-0 Walleye. You're watching My Komets on My TV. Well, back at the Huntington Center, the face-off between Fleming and also Hirschfeld drawing back. Oh, a bad angle shot that time, and what a great attempt by Sidlowski, repelled by Carruth. Another great shot, and Carruth barely saw that one. The Komets trying to generate more traffic in front. Now Fleming feeds Marino. Marino tries to serve it across to Auger, but that's blocked away. Good job, though, by the Komets to stand their ground, as that time they tried to keep it in, but Coyle had his pass chipped away. Now at center ice, it'll be Marino circling. He resets, flips it into the zone. Didn't get a whole lot of lumber on it, but he fires one right across again from a bad angle along the far boards, and Carruth had to be ready to go. Now Martini, the high flip into the Toledo zone. Now here come the Walleye looking for a breakout. That is just flipped ahead. Trying to play it that time on the short hop was Louis-Marc Auger. Lynch hustling in the corner as they're trying to cycle it deep. Clark. But taken off by Martini, but Clark intercepts and manages a backhander on goal, but there will be a penalty, and it looks like it will go against the Komets. Brandon Marino doesn't think so, but his vote doesn't count, and Frederic LeBlanc, it looks like, will be handing out the first penalty of the game. It'll come at the 12:57 mark, and it's a hooking penalty. Now it's Miller controlling the face-off, and Pepin fires at the length of the rink. So Martini is called for holding at the 12:57 mark. And so it is a Toledo power play, the first of the game. Rogers working down low, tries to center, tipped away, but hustling for it that time is Travis Novak. Now Rogers behind the Comet goal. Pepin tries to flip it away, can't. Southorn fires it off the boards. Schrock can't win the race. Now Nicastro comes along the half boards to Gilbert. Now Gilbert takes a look. Little head bob, tries to get it right near the net to Rogers. Trying to ring it around that time with Southorn. He couldn't. Comes across in a one-time attempt by Gilbert, but he breaks his stick. Oh, that time Rogers stepped into Southorn, and the puck remains in the Comet zone. Again, the Walleye continue to cycle around. Here's a fake, and then a shot quickly. Oh, it's gloved that time by Meisner. Big scramble in front. Bodies fly everywhere, and finally a whistle as Kyle Rogers, the Walleye captain, was trying to figure out a way to nudge that puck past Meisner, but Meisner has been very, very strong so far here in the first period. The shots favor the Walleye now, 10-7. .52 seconds remain in the Toledo power play. Again, a quick shot, and it's repelled by Ben Meisner. Now, the Toledo power play clips at 19.5%. That is second in the 22-team ECHL. The Comet penalty kill, 86.9%. That is seventh in the league. Now, Gleason, as they work it again along the half wall. Aubrey back out to Gleason. Now it's Gleason again, tries to slide by Marino. Komets again trying to choke off this penalty. They trail 1-0 with under 5.5 minutes to play in the first half. Comes back to the point. They work at top of the circle. Quick shot. Hit a Toledo player. That time looked like it hit Clark. Komets can't clear. Walking in. Hirschfield blocked away by Meisner. And Gates will have a chance to chip it ahead. Here comes the hustling Marino. Can he win the foot race? No, that is poked away that time by Joe Gleason. Boy, Marino stepped into heavily that time by his opposite number, Stefan Thorne. Now the Komets back at full strength as they do choke off the penalty. Racing in was Coyle. Caruso just held the puck. Now he left it ahead, and now busting in with speed is Travis Novak. He's cut off by Auger, but picking his pocket is Novak. Gets it across to Aubrey. Aubrey, cross-ice pass, that time intended for Kyle Rogers. He has it briefly. Back to the point, big drive, and it's kicked out of there by Meisner. Meisner has stood tall here in the first period. That time a big shot by Chartrain. Now the K's back in. Auger with a shot. Gloved that time, and bodies are flying as that time Mbach was ridden into the Toledo goal. And they'll have a little bit of a conversation. 4:29 to go here in the opening period from the Huntington Center in Toledo. The Walleye lead the Komets 1-0. We'll take a break. You're watching
Parkview Sports Medicine.
Now the Komets work it in front off the timeout. Ouellet still has the puck, circles in front, quick shot. Oh, big save that time by Caruth. Ouellet has got that big body, and he has done a great job when he gets close to the Toledo net. Now the Walleye try to clear. They can't. Kenton Miller pinching along the boards. Feeds Ouellet. Ouellet takes a look. Here we are back at the Huntington Center, and the Komets applying all sorts of pressure. And the recently acquired Ouellet comes back to the point. Taking a look is Coyle. Coyle snaps the quick shot. That goes through traffic, and it's knocked down by Toledo. Clark will just chip it off the boards, and it looks like it will angle on goal. No, it goes just wide, and that will be icing against the Walleye. 3:38 to go in this opening period. Toledo leads at 1-0. The lone goal coming from David Gilbert at the 5:43 mark. The assist to Max Nicastro and also to Travis Novak. Right now the Walleye have outshot the Komets 13-10. Fleming to face it off against Aaron Clark, who came over in the recent trade with Kalamazoo for Ryan Flanagan. Now the shot is cleared by the Walleye. Fleming at neutral ice. Tries to recycle, leaves for Marino. He'll just chip it in. Racing in is Fleming as he tries to do battle that time with Richard Nedemal. Boy, Nedemal came up high with the arm, and the Komets have a delayed penalty. Racing to the net. That time, breaking in was Gates. And Toledo, that pass, that centering pass, attempted for Gates, but Clark touches up. And that time, Meisner got to the Komet bench so they could get the extra attacker out, but it'll be the first penalty of the night, and it'll be an elbow against Toledo coming at the 16:53 mark. So an elbowing penalty against the Walleye, and that will go against Richard Nedemal. So let's see if the K's can get the equalizer on the power play. Mbach loses the draw and quickly snapping it around the boards is Sova. K's try to keep it in. Denis Pepin does, but it flips out. Here comes Hirschfield. He's one-on-one with Southorn. Southorn will chip it away, but Nicastro keeps it in. A shot goes off the leg of Denis Pepin, and he'll spin around in his own zone. Hirschfield applies the pressure. Now Southorn just caroms it off the boards where Denis Pepin collects behind his own goal. He leaves for Southorn. Now Southorn to break it out. Comes across Mbach. Mbach down the slot. That time for Carter. Back to Mbach. Kind of a bouncing biscuit. He can't quite corral it. Now Mbach does have it. Comes back to Denis Pepin. Here's Carter. Carter at the top hash. Comes back to Denis Pepin across to Southorn. Southorn takes a look. Fakes the shot. Comes over near boards to Sidlowski. He skates in and he fans on the snapshot. And a good job by Southorn to keep it in. Now deep in the corner, it's Mbach circling. Right near the hash, Sidlowski back to Southorn. Again, he fakes the shot. The puck is on its edge a lot. Now at the side of the net, goes off the skate of Mbach. Mbach backhands back to Southorn. He fakes to Denis Pepin. Southorn skates in top of the circle, comes across, quick shot, and that time Carter. It's kicked out by Caruth, but they can't clear. Denis Pepin comes to Southorn, comes across Carter, skates in, little dipsy doodle. Now he goes behind the net, tries to center. That time Sidlowski couldn't get a lot of wood on it. And this time it's backhanded out as Hirschfield gets the job done. Meisner quickly skates out of his net, leaves for Southorn, who leaves for Coyle. Coyle takes a look. Here comes Coyle, slips past Stefan Thorne, now comes ahead to Brandon Marino. Marino comes over to his wingmate Auger. He puts on the brakes. Auger comes across. Here comes Jace Coyle. Coyle takes a look. Now back to Auger, who's playing the point on this power play. Coyle comes across Marino. He skates in. Quick wrist shot. And that goes off the leg that time as the Komets couldn't get it all the way through to the goal. That was Phil Rock as he got the leg out, and now the penalty is over. So Toledo has done a good job of choking off the Komet power play. We have even strength with 1 minute and 3 seconds to go in the opening period. Right now the Walleye have outshot the K's 13-11. Well, coming up during our first intermission, Tommy Schegler will have a past interview with Komet captain Kaylee Schrock during a prior segment of Sound Off with the Komets. 1 minute to go in the period. Again, right at the net. Oh, trying to get the thing in was Nutkovich, but again, a bouncing puck Carruth was able to badger him a little bit. Now it comes back. Hartman tries to put a pass ahead, but Mbach can't control. Nutkovich pokes it back to Mbach at center ice. Mbach tries to circle around. Now pretty good pressure applied by the Walleye. Down to the final 36 seconds. Now Toledo trying to set up a play. Right now there's been a lot of play at neutral ice. Not much going on. Pass ahead to Lynch. He feathers ahead, and busting in is Novak. Novak comes across. Nobody home. Racing in is Nicastro, the defenseman. Now that's chipped ahead as Toledo making a quick change, jumping onto the ice to make the play. And racing in was Stefan Thorne. He follows. Hartman rubs him off the play. Now Marino trying to dig it out. Now Marino tumbles to the ice, as does Aubrey. And that'll do it. And now we're going to have a scrum right at the whistle. And it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a melee. I see one of the guys who quickly dropped the gloves was Emerson Clark, as it looked like a late hit on Fleming just as time was expiring. And if there's anybody on this Walleye team that stirs the pot a little bit, it's Emerson Clark. And he was quick to throw the gloves off. So let's see if we have any penalties here at the 20-minute mark. Right now the teams are heading to the respective locker rooms. Still a couple of guys hanging around exchanging pleasantries, and I don't think it has to do with any of the Walleye telling the Komets a good place to eat before they head back to Fort Wayne. So let's see if we have some penalties here at the 20-minute mark. And right now, the referee, Frederick LeBlanc, is talking to the captain of the Walleye, Kyle Rogers. Well, we'll sort this out. We will take our first intermission break here, and then we'll come back.
MyTV Fort Wayne, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Environmental and economic benefits of working with a local remanufactured ink cartridge retailer. To learn more, check them out at rockbottomink.com or give them a call at 260-748-0636. Now the Komets working the power play. Back to the point. Jess Coyle sets up shop as he comes across to Auger. He's manning the left point. Comes back out quickly to Coyle. Coyle takes a look as Toledo is playing the box defense. Too high, too low. Coyle looks for a seam. Again, now he gets the pass to Marino. Comes across. Quick shot by Auger. Score, Komets! The Komets with a power play goal. A rock-bottom power play goal. And a great shot by Auger. And the Komets have tied the game just 48 seconds into period 2 as the K's get the equalizer on the rock-bottom power play, as great passing by the Komets, and Chris Auger picks up goal number 15 of the season at the 48-second mark. Great passing by the K's on the rock-bottom ink power play. So we're all even as they come back to center ice. It's drawn back to Toledo. We'll see who the assists are at the 48-second mark. Komets have tied the game. Quick shot that whistles over the top of the crossbar. Coyle and Marino pick up the assists on Auger's goal. We are even at 1. Puck centered in the slot, but too strong for Lynch. He chases into the corner. Now Mbach is trying to take the puck away with help from Sidlowski. Mbach works it ahead, but it's kept in the Komet zone. Good pressure that time by Oreskovic. 1-1 Komets on the power play. In the slot, quick shot. That just goes by the glove of Meisner. He holds his ground. Big battle in front. Meisner loses his mask. Now he lays on the back of it, and the whistle blows. Meisner taking a look and having a conversation with Frederick LeBlanc. So the Komets get the equalizer on the rock-bottom ink power play. 48 seconds into period number 2. Chris Auger, who has had a great season, picks up his 15th goal of the season. And the assists go to Brandon Marino and Jace Coyle. Face off in the Komet zone to the left of Meisner. Lynch on the draw with Kenton Miller. And Miller does a nifty job of drawing it back. Southorn with speed tries to break it out. Crisp pass ahead on the back end to Miller. Miller tries to get it into the Toledo zone, but he's pinched off the play. And here come the Walleye back the other way. Aaron Clark to the former Komet Stefan Thorne. He tries to center, nobody home. Chipped into the corner, though, that time by Toledo's Joe Gleason. Now Denis Pepin, bumped by Stefan Thorn, but the large Pepin able to put his body between Thorn and the puck. Racing in to keep the play in, though, is Joe Sova behind the net. Clark looking to center on the backhand. That goes through the feet of Sova, and racing out is Southorn, but Sova dives. Keeping it alive, though, is Schrock ahead to Southorn. Southorn into the corner. He's beaten by Chartrain, and here come the Walleye. It's going to be a 2-on-1. Busting in, here comes Stefan Thorn. It's in his feet. He tries to center, and missing it was C.J. Chartrain. Now the Komets come back. 3-on-1. Here comes Coyle. Fine rushing defenseman. Comes across. Too strong, though, for Carter. Behind the net, it's Kenton Miller. He's bumped off the play that time by Sova. Now Coyle pinches in from his defensive spot. Komets can't keep it in. Comes back to center where Martini feeds ahead Auger. Auger cross ice Marino. Marino takes a look. Quick snapshot. That whistles wide. Now the Walleye look to break out. Thorn can't get the pass ahead. Good defense by Martini. In with speed is Fleming. He leaves for Marino. Marino, the drive, and right on. Save that time by Carruth, and a little jostling in front of the Walleye net. Well, Scotty Fleming will never hesitate to poke his schnoz right in there. He was pushed out of there by C.J. Chartrain. So again, the Komets on the power play goal, the Rock Bottom Inc. power play goal by Auger, tie it up. The assists, Marino and also Coyle. And speaking of assists, a proud representative of West Bend Mutual Insurance Company and proud Komet sponsor is Mac Gregory. Let Gregory and Associates assist you with your insurance needs, whether it be home and auto, life, or business insurance. Since 1933, a family business taking care of families and business. Puck goes the length of the rink where Hartman gives chase, and that'll be icing called against the Walleye. So the Komets, after spotting Toledo, the 1-0 lead after the opening 20 minutes, cash on the power play. Just 48 seconds into period 2, Auger ties it up. Embach on the draw against Louis-Marc Aubrey, and now Embach is chased out of the face-off circle. Nutkovich chips it off the boards. Ouellet, who uses that big body, quickly feeds Embach. His shot is deflected, goes just to the side of the net. Komets try to center. That winds up in the feet of Nicastro. Now Nicastro feathers it ahead, trying to bunch it along the boards as Hirschfeld. He's rubbed off by Hartman. Oh, stepping into Nutkovich that time was Marc-Louis Aubrey, and now comes back to the point. Cross ice. Niedermal flips it. Screen set up in front. That just whistles by. Meisner now another drive from the point, that time by Max Nicastro. That goes wide. Komets try to flip it ahead. Pinched off at center ice by Nicastro. That's dumped back into the K zone. Toledo going for a change, trying to break out his Hartman ahead to Ouellet. Ouellet came over with Carter in the trade for Mike Vascovu and also Nick Pokaluk. Now here comes Emerson Clark. He's going 1-on-2. Now Aaron Clark rushes in. Oh, that time hitting the boards heavily was Emerson Clark as he lost an edge. They play on. Rock at the point. Comes cross ice. Big drive that time, and that whistles wide by Gleason. Komets try to clear but can't. You can tell Emerson Clark is a little bit woozy as he was racing in, lost an edge, and hit the boards heavily. Gleason tries to flip it in the Komet zone, gloved down that time by Martini. Again, a lot of play at neutral ice. Now here comes Thorn. Drop pass left on the backhand for Clark. His shot goes wide. Now the K's look to break out with numbers. That's just chipped in by Embach. The Komets will go for a change. Racing in is Jace Coyle, the fine rushing defenseman. He centers, and that time Kenton Miller can't finish. Diving after the biscuit that time is Carruth, and Thorn and Schrock, the former Komet teammates, exchange pleasantries right at the side of the goal. And now Thorn and Schrock, who frankly are good friends, probably except for the next 35 minutes, talking things over. Shots are now even at 15-15. We've played just about 5 minutes of period 2. Glad you could join us for Komet Hockey on the road. My Komets on my TV. Denis Pepin puts the...
When everything falls apart,
No guts, no glory.
this team comes together.
Looked like Gilbert got a stride ahead of the captain, Kyle Rogers. And the face-off will come outside of the Komet zone. Komets will go for a line change, as will the Walleye, with 14:48 to go in a 1-1 hockey game. Again, this is the Komets' first appearance here in Toledo this season. Took to the 2014 part of the schedule for the K's to find the new Huntington Center, the relatively new Huntington Center. This its 5th year. Now a race on between Fleming and David Gilbert. Gilbert wins the race. He breaks it out. Oh, big check that time by Southorn as he takes his man off the puck, and that results in a Walleye offside. Good play by Southorn to step right into Travis Novak, and that created the offside. Komets now have a 16-15 shot advantage. 14 and a half minutes to go in period 2. This is the first of 3 games in 3 nights for the Komets. They go to Kalamazoo tomorrow, and then the K-Wings visit the Coliseum on Sunday for a 5:05 face-off. As that time, Louis-Marc Auger was tossed out of the face-off circle. A shot right on as that was flipped in by Nicastro. It was gloved by Meisner. Busting in on the play was Hirschfeld, and he was shoved out of the way by Simone Denis Pepin. I've had the chance to get to know Simone a little bit, seeing him around town, and just an outstanding guy, and he loves being a Fort Wayne Komet. Now Aubrey on the draw with Fleming, as the Komets have the number 1 line out of Fleming, Auger, and Marino. A little late in dropping the puck. Southorn control, spins behind his own goal. Little stick handling, now comes cross ice to Marino. He tries to feed it ahead. Onside is Fleming. He looks, shoots. Oh, blocker save that time. Lower to the stick side, just steered aside by Carruth. Now the Walleye flipping it in as Lynch. As he tries to win the race to the puck, he does. Behind the net, Aubrey tries to center. He's bumped off by Denis Pepin. Aubrey still controls, looks for a center. Fanned on that time by Hirschfeld, and he puts the stick up high in the chin of Southorn. Now stepped into his Southorn by Aubrey. Looks like Aubrey has a problem with the skate as he's looking to go off, and Toledo's still offside. Aubrey gets to the bench. Looks like Louis-Marc Aubrey has either a problem with his skate or with his ankle. We have a timeout here at the Huntington Center in Toledo. 13:44 to go in the second period. A 1-1 game between the Komets and the Walleye. You're watching My Komets on My TV. Well, coming out of the break, right at center ice off the face-off, Komet captain Kaylee Schrock squared off with Emerson Clark, the self-appointed tough guy of the Walleye, and looked like they squared off to pretty much a draw. Both players got some shots in, and Clark trying to get the fans here in Toledo all revved up. You could see that one coming as they came to center ice off of the timeout. Schrock and Clark looked at each other, sized each other up, and said, okay, let's go. So they dropped the gloves, the helmets, and everything. And I think Schrock will be going to the Komet locker room for some repairs, maybe got a little bit of a cut. So that should be 5 for fighting, the old coincidental majors for each. That coming at the 6:19 mark. Now, we talked about how the intensity was picking up here early in period number 2 with the Komets getting the equalizer on the Rock Bottom Inc. power play 48 seconds in, and the goal by Chris Auger. So now even Steven, and both players serving 5 for fighting, Schrock and Emerson Clark at the 6:19 mark. And here come the Walleye on the attack. Aaron Clark leaves for the captain, Kyle Rogers. Gleason, a drive from the point. That whistles wide. Now again, the Walleye trying to get a little steam off of that fight. Centered in front, but knocked down with the quick feet of Nutkovich. Now he circles behind his own goal and starts the breakout. Great pass ahead to Mbach. Komets trying to come in with numbers. Mbach with a quick snapshot, but that goes off the skate of Oreskovic and goes into the netting, so that'll mean a face-off in the Toledo zone. The Komets will be playing an awful lot of hockey games against their North Division rivals. Starting tonight, Cincinnati leading the way with 42 points, Evansville with 40, Kalamazoo with 37, the Komets with 33, and then Toledo with 23. Now Auger, a nifty move, quickly behind the net. Marino tries to fire short side. Smothering it that time was the goaltender Caruth, as, boy, it looked like Fleming was just leveled on a cross-check by C.J. Chartrain. No call. So the face-off will come to the left of the Walleye goaltender, Matt Caruth. Talked about it in the pregame show, how this has been, some would say, a challenging season, others a bizarre season in the 62-year history of the Komets, with all of the personnel changes. When you think of what started the first week of October in training camp and where we are now, the first week of January, where we talk about the fact that the Komets made 9 trades in 8 weeks. Now racing down the wing and trying to bust it in is Travis Novak. Along the boards, pinched in by Sova. Crafty little shot, and that went through his screen, but blocking it away was Meisner. Meisner has been doing very, very well with both of his gloves, his blocker and his catching hand. And again, Toledo continues to pinch along the near boards, trying to put pressure on the Komets. Comes back to the point. That's just chipped right back in by Nicastro. A drive from the point, a knuckleball is not much wood on it by Sova. Hayes tried to chip it out, and that time Marino gets the job done, but collected by Nicastro. He fires off the boards, cross-ice pass, no one home, as Hirschfield not quite up with the play. Toledo makes a change. Komets trying to catch them in the change. Here comes Auger. Spins around, loses his defender, dumps it behind the net. Hustling in is Kenton Miller. He slips the check of Sova. Now Miller, high boards for Ouellet. Ouellet using that big body, but he's taken off the play. And the puck is moved ahead by Aubrey. Oh, the shot is centered, and that time Ouellet almost redirected. Carter working deep in the corner that time as he rubs away with Rogers. Komets, great pressure in the Toledo zone. Now it's finally cleared. A little too strong. Martini drives and fires the puck ahead. That time Coyle pays the price but moves it on. Now Carter with a backhander, and it is smothered that time. Again, tempers flaring a little bit. Anybody that approaches the goal, as Carter was just pulling up, and he took a shot that time from the captain, Kyle Rogers. So now both teams are trying to establish their turf, so to speak. 11:14 to go in period 2. We are tied at 1. Toledo a goal in the opening period. David Gilbert his 8th. The Komets a power play goal in the first 48 seconds of period 2. Auger his 15th. Now trying to race out of his zone with speed was Chartrain, but he was cut off and leveled that time by Sean Sidlowski. Sidlowski with a bad angle shot, and again, that's blocked away by Caruth and up into the netting, so that'll result in a face-off. Looks like Toledo's going to make a line change. Here comes the former Komet Stefan Thorne along with Aaron Clark and Alden Hirschfield. Hembach on the draw against Aaron Clark, recently acquired by Toledo in a trade with Kalamazoo. Initially, the K-Wings were going to send Clark to San Francisco. He said, no thank you. None of that West Coast for me. I want to stay in the Midwest and around the East area. So they ended up trading him to division rival Toledo for Ryan Flanagan. Boy, that time just leveled on the play was Sidlowski, and there was no call. And the Walleye just fire at the length of the rink for the icing. And now Sidlowski is checking a blade to make sure he didn't lose an edge. Well, there's nothing quite like it when you're a little bit off balance and then somebody steps into you and you hit the ice heavily. And so Sidlowski, I think, a combination of being off balance and wondering if he did lose a bit of an edge. Now off the draw as big Richard Niedermal tries to control. It's flipped into neutral ice. Backing up is Coyle. Coyle fires ahead off the boards. Here comes Fleming. Briefly in the feet of Marino. Now it's dumped in the corner. Carruth controls, and he flips it ahead. A little too strong. That would be an ice, but it won't quite get to the line, so Martini has it for the Komets. Oh, a short pass intended for Coyle. Clark intercepts, can't quite center. That's deflected. But Needhamall fires from the point, steered away that time by Meisner. Thorn flips the rebound to Clark, right in front, and that time Hirschfeld not able to finish. Back to the point it comes. That's wrapped around by Rock. Now Hirschfeld, who's really made his presence felt in this game. Komets can't clear. Martini doesn't get a lot of wood on it. Now Martini has it again. And just backhands it ahead. Fleming trying to run it down. He is picked off that time by Gleason. Rock behind his own net, wraps it around the boards. Southorn trying to wait for his team to get offside, just flips it in. It's batted down with the stick that time by Rock. Rock starts the rush. Little flutter shot. And it's batted down that time by Meisner. And again, this time, as Travis Novak gets a little too close for comfort, the Komets move him out. We have a timeout here in period 2 in the Huntington Center. 9:43 to go. We are even. The Komets won and the Walleye won. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne. Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Now the Komets come in quickly. Ouellet tries to center the pass across. Oh, it goes into the net. Miller tried to put it in. The puck was caroming around, and it ended up chipping over Carruth. Ouellet may have popped it in, and the Komets have taken a 2-1 lead. It goes to show you put the puck on goal, and good things can happen. And the Komets, with their second goal of the period, have taken the 2-1 lead. Comes at the 10:41 mark. And we'll see if they give the go to Ouellet. And if it goes to Christian Ouellet, it would be his second goal in as many games. Now, Nutkovich on the draw with Aubrey. Controlled by the Walleye. Needhamall comes across to Oreskovic. Now Hirschfeld tries to get it in the zone, winds back up at neutral ice. It was Ouellet from Kenton Miller and Southorn, and Ouellet's 5th of the season, second as a Komet. And the Komets take a 2-1 lead, and again, for more than 6 decades, Gregory Associates has been Fort Wayne's insurance leader, whether it's auto, home, or any combination you might require. Gregory Associates, the clear choice to meet all of your protection needs. Let Mac Gregory assist you in obtaining the best rates possible. Give them a call at 432-3695. So the Komets on the Ouellet goal with the Southorn and Miller assist at the 10:41 mark have taken the 2-1 lead here in period 2. 8:42 to go, and the K's have now outshot the Walleye 21-17 in the game. Now the puck started bouncing around, and Ouellet started the play. Next thing you know, I think Carruth lost track of it, and it looked like it popped over and maybe rolled down his back. Hartman dumps it in, pays the price a bit as he's stepped into by Rogers. Now Embach, as he's bumped off the play heavily by Oreskovic. Stefan Thorn dumps it in, giving chase as Hartman. Right on his back is Rogers. Now the K's look for the breakout. Sidlowski with the touch pass goes right back to Embach. He pinches along the boards. The K's keep it deep in the Toledo zone. Racing in on the play is Sean Sidlowski. He looks to center. Nobody there, but now it's Auger gathering deep in the corner. Racing in is Fleming. Briefly popped off the play, but he gets it to Coyle. Quick shot is right on and steered aside by Carruth. Oh, a little backhand centering pass by Fleming. That gets through, but nobody is there. Coyle again dumps it in. He's stepped into by Thorn, and here comes Rogers back the other way. Quick shot right on. Save Ben Meisner. A crafty little shot by Rogers at the end of his shift. And again, Ben Meisner has really stood tall so far for the Komets in this one. If you just might be tuning in, Toledo took the early lead in this one on a goal by David Gilbert at the 5:43 mark of the first period. The K's tied it 48 seconds into period 2. Chris Auger picked up goal number 15 on the Rock Bottom Inc. power play, and then Christian Ouellet scored his second goal in the Komet in as many games at the 10:41 mark. Komets on top 2-1. Now the K's trying to get that Toledo pressure out of their end, and the Komets continue to work hard, but Hirschfeld has had a big game so far from the Walleye. Nicastro doesn't get very much lumber on it. The reason is he broke his stick in half. Komets have a chance with numbers as Nicastro was looking for a new stick. Marino glides in. Back to Denis Pepin at the point. He loads it up. A low shot just caroms wide. Marino on the doorstep. Now it's a centering pass by Fleming to Auger, who can't quite poke it home. Oh, that looked like a cross-check from behind that time by Sova, as going heavily into the boards with Fleming. That looks like it'll be cleared the zone, but not strong enough to be an icing. So Southorn starts to break out. Marino goes off the back of the shaft of his stick, and racing in, back the other way, here comes Rogers. Rogers' shot is chipped off the stick of a Komet. That goes into the netting, and we'll have a face-off and a stoppage of play. 6:47 to go in period number 2. The Komets lead Toledo 2-1. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Komets Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne. Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Now Toledo working the puck in the Komet zone off the face-off. You have the Martini defensive unit out there, along with Coyle. The newcomers, Carter Ouellet out there, along with Kenton Miller. Now the Komets break it out. Ouellet tries to fire the shot. That goes off the shin guard that time of Phil Rock. And a whistle and a face-off in the Toledo zone. We are back at the Huntington Center. You are watching the Komets and the Toledo Walleye. 6:19 to go in period 2. The Komets on top 2-1. The Komets have outshot the Walleye 22-18. And we are brought to you in part by Parkview Sports Medicine, offering a continuum of care approach for athletes, providing training, treatment, and education for sports enthusiasts at all levels. The programs serve athletes of all ages, providing opportunities to those just beginning their athletic careers, to those who just enjoy staying active and are looking to maintain certain aspects of their competitive edge. Parkview Sports Medicine. Off the draw, it comes back to Hartman. Joe Hartman, who has been a much improved player for the Komets. He's hit heavily by Emerson Clark. And a quick shot on by Auger. That stopped. The puck sits in the crease, and it's flipped high and out of the zone by Toledo. The K's bidding to take a 2-goal lead just came up short. Now Hartman takes a look. Well, he surveys the landscape, can't find a teammate, so he'll just start to break it out. Emerson Clark out with Aaron Clark, a long pass to center ice, and Fleming will just fire it deep into the Toledo zone. Marino, as he loses an edge, goes heavily into the boards. C.J. Chartrain starts the breakout for the Walleye. Now here comes Thorne. Leaves, quick shot right on that time, fired into the belly by Richard Niedemall, and Meisner again doing the great job. And the contentiousness between the Walleye and the Komets continues to build here in period 2. And Southorn is talking to referee Frederick LeBlanc and says, hey, look, how much more are you going to let these guys start pounding the crease? And I'll tell you what, the Komets maybe should be a little testy about that, because it was a collision with a Kalamazoo player that took Andrei Makarov out of the game Wednesday night. Still a point of contention whether or not the Kalamazoo player just ripped into Makarov, or if it was a collision with the Komet player that sent him into the crease. But first and foremost, you have to protect your goaltender, especially when the opposition is getting a little too cozy in the crease, right in front. And an attempted backhander is steered away, as that time Nutkovich was bidding for the goal, but right there was Caruth. Again, the board play is picking up both ways. Now the Walleye looking to center, comes back to the point. Nicastro loses his balance, and now here comes Nutkovich back the other way with Sidlowski. Tries to come across Embach, leaves for breaking in. Denis Pepin comes right to the crease. Oh, and not being able to play it was Nutkovich. Big drive by Southorn, and that's steered away. Komets trying to get the better of the play here in the final 5 minutes of period 2. Centering pass too strong for Mbach. He still controls. He's bumped off the play that time by David Gilbert. Now back the other way. Denis Pepin comes cross ice with the backhander Southorn. Ahead to Ouellet, who's had an impressive Komet debut. Just kind of skitters the puck through the legs of the defender Sova, and pouncing on the loose biscuit is the goaltender Matt Carruth. 4.5 minutes to play in period 2. 2-1 Komets, and they have outshot the Walleye now 24-19. In this period, the Komets have outshot Toledo 12-5. Off the draw, deep in the corner. Kenton Miller gives chase that time. Trying to race out of the puck was Louis-Marc Auger. He tries to get it between the legs of Martini. Does, and just chips a little backhander toward the goal. And you can tell that the strategy of Ben Meisner, anything close to the crease that he can smother, he'll do just that. Always important for goaltenders not to give up that big fat rebound, and Meisner's done a great job of standing his ground and doing just that, smothering the puck, creating face-offs. Face-offs so important, and that time Kenton Miller cleanly wins it from Louis-Marc Auger. Komets looking for a breakout. Carter just tried to deflect it ahead, but stepping into that passing lane. Gleason with a shot right on, and again, right into the belly pad of Meisner, who will collect another save. Well, don't forget again, it's a busy weekend for the Komets. They go to Kalamazoo tomorrow. K-Wings come to the Coliseum Sunday for a 5:05 face-off. And join Tommy Schegler Monday on Sound Off with the Komets. Defenseman Jordan Southorn will be on the show, 7:30, live from Champions on 21 Alive. Now behind the net, Jeremy Gates, who, with Lacasse out of the lineup and Carter in, Gates, who's been playing a lot of forward the last few games, is back on a defensive position as he is paired with Hartman. Auger at the high wall keeps the puck in as he tries to rub away from his defender, Nicastro. Now again, here is Fleming. Fleming, a quick shot, and that's poked away. Boy, Fleming couldn't quite collect the puck totally so he could really snap the shot off. Cross-ice pass intended for Marino. That was briefly deflected by Aaron Clark. Now a cross-ice pass intercepted by Marino. Komets with numbers. Here's Marino. Tries to flip a shot in front. That deflects high into the corner. Hartman, who pinched in from his defensive point, is bumped off the play by Emerson Clark. Now it's Hartman giving the rough ride to the Toledo player, is just now getting up after that hit is Joe Sova. Ahead it goes Fleming. Leaves a little touch pass for Marino. Marino, top of the circle, spins around, loses Nicastro. Now Marino, deep in the corner. Nicastro tries to control the puck. The crafty Marino trying to poke it away. Fleming gets a stick on the puck. And that time, Stefan Thorne fires it into the bench. And I think both teams were looking for a shift change as they were running out of steam at the end of their shift. So the faceoff goes into the Toledo zone to the right of goaltender Matt Carruth. Both goalies have played well tonight. Komets have 25 shots. The Walleye have 21. 2-1 Fort Wayne, just under 3 minutes to go in period 2. Glad you could join us as we continue our package of Komet road games. On the draw as Gilbert and Nutkovich fight for it. Coming out of it, trying on the breakout that time is C.J. Chartrain. Cross-ice pass, Rogers. Now it's just flipped in off the backhander by Travis Novak. Rogers given the rough ride that time by Denis Pepin. Komets try to get it out of the zone. It pops out toward the middle, and the K's breaking out with numbers 3-on-2. Hustling back is Gilbert to get back in the play. A drive from the left wing, and that time Mbach bidding for the short side. That's steered away by Carruth up into the screen. And so we'll have another stoppage and another face-off. Now the Komets are 7-6-0-1 on the road. They have been the better road team this year. Had their struggles on home ice. 6-5-3-3, and just shoved from behind. Chartrain again. That could have been a cross check, as the shot from the point. That time, Cy Nukovich was trying for the deflection. He was shoved down not once but twice by Chartrain, and the teams again will change lines. The That Comet home record translates actually into 6-11. You've had a combined 6 losses, either in overtime or via the shootout. Overtime nor the shootout have been the Comets' friend this year, but the Comets have won 7 games on the road. And 2 of the 3 this weekend are on the road. The K's looking for a good start to the 3 games and 3 nights set, if they can come away with a victory tonight in their first appearance here in Toledo. Now, chip to center ice, and the Walleye, again, trying to run a neutral zone trap. The Comets just whack it in as Ouellet dumps it behind. Carruth fires the puck over to the left side to Rock. That'll go the length of the rink, and that should be an icing, and it is. Under 2 minutes to go, 1:54 here in period 2. Comets lead it 2-1. David Gilbert got the first goal of the night. That came in the first period to give the Walleye a 1-0 lead. Comets tied it 48 seconds into period 2, and Chris Auger picked up his 15th of the season on a Rock Bottom Inc. power play. And then Christian Ouellet gave the Comets the lead with his second goal in as many games in a Fort Wayne uniform. Good cross-ice pass to Auger, tries to feed it ahead. Oh, just a little too strong for Fleming. Now Marino behind the net. There's going to be a penalty to Toledo. Auger behind to Marino. Marino tries to chase it down as Meisner heads to the Comet bench for the extra attacker. There's a shot that's caromed away by Coyle. Now behind the net, Mbach circles. Comets have the extra attacker on the ice. Here comes Coyle, top of the circle. In the slot, Auger can't quite get the handle on it. It'll be touched, and there will be a penalty coming to the Walleye. And this will come at the 18:42 mark, and it'll be a hooking penalty. And that will go to the defenseman of the Walleye, Phil Rock. So Rock for hooking at 18:42, and the Comets are on another Rock Bottom Inc. power play. They have 1 power play goal tonight. Looks like Sidlowski will be tossed out of the circle. Rock Bottom, the answer for consumers who consider the environmental and economic benefits of working with a local remanufactured ink cartridge retailer. To learn more, check them out at rockbottominc.com or give them a call at 260-748-0636. This would be a big power play for the K's to cash on in the final minute and change. Good job by Southorn to keep it in with the skate. Then he chips it ahead. Now cycling near the top of the circle. Comes across. Oh, great centering attempt that time by Carter. A little too strong for Mbach. Sidlowski comes back. Southorn comes over. Carter chips it back to Deep Pepin. Southorn takes a look. Top of the circle. Now he'll back it up a little bit. Flip the shot on. A tip attempt that time by Mbach. And there'll be another penalty this time. And it's going to go to the Komets. Oh, my. They're going to call a trip on the Komets. As the goaltender, Carruth, was breaking out. He handles the puck. Drive by Clark. Steered away that time by Meisner. Denis Pepin with the touch. And the Komets will be called for a trip. My goodness. And it'll go against Mbach. The trip coming at the 19:28 mark. So just when the Komets went on a Rock Bottom Inc. power play, the tripping penalty to Mbach with 32 seconds to go will even things up. And Toledo will have a power play of about a minute and a half into the third period. On the face-off in the Comet zone, it's controlled that time on a good job by Kenton Miller. Boy, Rogers steps heavily into Jace Coyle. Coyle's paid the price a number of times tonight to make some plays. Southorn now coming in off the wing, looks to center, flips it back to the point to Coyle, keeps it alive with his feet, tries to backhand it, though, deep into the corner, and it's intercepted. Back the other way comes Gilbert. He has the Toledo goal, and again a centering pass, steered away that time by Meisner, who had to be Johnny on the spot. 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1 to go, and that should do it. Southorn was going to load up a shot, but the buzzer sounds, and we have reached the end of 2 periods of play. Again, another great period of hockey. So we will have first break here in our second intermission. We'll come back and recap period 2. and then look ahead to period 3. So it's time for a break here. The Komets lead 2-1 after 2 periods of play. You're watching away here at the Huntington Center in Toledo, Ohio. Off the opening draw, the teams are playing 4-on-4. And as we get things underway in period 3, Gleason rushing into the Komet zone as he tries to center, comes back to the point. A shot right on that's chipped right in front. Meisner gloves, and now he leaves for Southorn. So an immediate scoring chance for the Walleye as Auger with a crafty little deflection, now trying to break out. Denis Pepin with the long reach, pokes it ahead. Marino looks cross ice as Southorn was breaking in from the blue line. Again, both teams 4-on-4 as there is still penalty time for each. But the Walleye will eventually have a power play. Here's Hirschfeld coming in one-on-one. That gets between the legs of Southorn. Swept aside that time by Meisner. Now the Walleye on the power play as Embach still has some time, about 35 seconds to serve for his tripping penalty. Great job by Southorn, though, to pinch off Travis Novak and dump the puck deep back in the Toledo zone. Now here come the Walleye breaking out. Rogers as he slips the hip check that time by Martini. Deep in the corner, he's bumped off by Coyle. The K's will clear. Still 15 seconds left in the Walleye power play. Ooh, dangerous pass that time by Matt Carruth as the forecheck of Miller almost had a chance to poke that puck away. Now one last rush for the Walleye as Embach is set to come out. That time Gilbert, who has the lone Walleye goal, is rubbed off, and the Komets are able to clear. Racing out to clear it is Matt Carruth. That would have been icing on the Komets as Embach had come out of the penalty box. Now both teams at full strength. Puck high off the glass. Embach steers it back in. Bumped back out. They battle along the boards near the blue line. Auger takes a whack at it, but here comes Novak. He is slammed to the boards that time by Martini. Coyle evades a check that time by Gleason racing in. Banged off the boards. Martini gets it ahead. Embach. Embach leaves for Kenton Miller. Miller, top of the circle, comes down the slot. Too strong for Auger. And back the other way, here comes Louis-Marc Auger. He dumps it into the Komet zone. Meisner rings it around the boards. It's high off the glass. Komets can't clear. Hirschfeld tries to keep it alive. Battling along the glass, it's Gates along with Louis-Marc Auger. Gates digs it out. Tries to feed ahead. Embach centers ahead to Auger. Now Auger in the zone. Sets it up. Fires it on. It just goes wide. Gates keeps it in the zone. Dumps it deep. Embach lifts the stick of Oreskovic. He has it. Looks for a centering pass. No. Hustling in is Nutkovic. He dumps it right back into Embach. Komets again with a great forecheck here in the opening 2.5 minutes of period number 3. Embach, who's had a great shift, spins it around, tries to keep it alive. He's bumped off that time by Lynch. Now he uses the pick by Sidlowski. Embach comes out to the point. Big drive that time. Oh, it caroms off the post as Hartman almost got it through. Now Sidlowski dumps it deep. Centering pass attempt by Nutkovic goes off the skate that time of the defender Niedermal. And the Komets, with tremendous pressure, keep pouring it on. Finally, it's gloved by Matt Carruth. Whistle and a face-off. The Komets dominating the first 3 minutes and change of period number 3. Full change for both lineups. Good crowd tonight here in the Huntington Center. Talked about it in the pregame show. 5th year for this beautiful building in downtown Toledo. Oh, there's a shot that's redirected right in front by Miller. Doesn't quite find the zone, but hustling is Carter. Carter in his first game as a Komet since the trade with Elmira. Gets it back to his former teammate and now present teammate, Christian Ouellet. Now back to Kenton Miller. Komets tremendous pressure. Miller uses the body. Oh, shot and a score! What a play! Miller to Coyle, who pinched in and from the low wall fired the shot by Matt Carruth. The Komets with a 3-1 lead. The goal by Coyle as he came in from the left point. Jace Coyle picks up his 4th goal of the season. 1 assist will go to Kenton Miller. And the time of the goal, 3:35. A great play by the Komets, and again, that time the forecheck really paid off. K's lead 3-1. Miller the first assist. And Ouellet gets an assist. The Komets have scored 3 consecutive goals, and they now lead 3-1. Puck deep in the Toledo zone. 16 minutes to go in period 3. Now 3-1 in favor of the K's. The Komets have outshot the Walleye 30-24. Now here's Toledo looking for the breakout, but Gilbert pinched off by Southorn, who pokes it ahead. Auger coming in on the wing. Little toe drag, a shot. Oh, it's blocked that time by a sprawling Sova. And back the other way, here come the Walleye. Novak looks to get by Southorn, intended that time for Nicastro, who is racing in from his defensive position. Meisner tries to get the puck from behind his goal, comes back to the point. The shot that time whistles wide, as covering on the point was the captain, Kyle Rogers. Now here come the Komets. Fleming slips niftily by Rogers. Here's Fleming. A drive. That's right on. Steered aside with the stick of Caruth. Aubrey. Oh, a dangerous pass that flutters right in front of the Toledo goal. Lynch has to recycle as Mbach with a good forecheck. Now here's Aubrey at center ice. He'll snap it in. Karam's off of the leg of Gates. Funny bounce off the boards. Meisner ready to steer it aside. Now Jeremy Gates being hounded by Lynch. Toledo, knowing it has to play with more desperation, comes back to the point. Big drive. That time it was cut loose by Chartrain, but it hits a Komet stick. Here's Marino breaking out. Marino at the high wall, looks to center, chipped out of there by Alden Hirschfeld. Now the Komets, though, in the slot, comes back to the point. Gates with a low drive. That caroms off again the defenseman Chartrain. And the K's are putting on tremendous pressure in the Toledo zone. Now Chartrain just takes a whack at Mbach. Mbach has had a very, very strong game. He's just shoved to the ice that time by a frustrated Chartrain. The K's, tremendous pressure. What a forecheck by the Komets. Now it comes back to neutral ice. Nutkovich drops back to Gates. Gates takes a look, comes ahead. Sidlowski, little backhanded pass, but that's poked away that time. A quick chop that time by Joe Gleason. Now racing in and coming out of his goal to make a good play was Meisner, as the former Komet Stefan Thorne was trying to come in to pick up the loose puck. Now Matt Carter, little stick handling, dumps it deep behind his neck. Caruth steers ahead, pinching in as Miller. Miller goes deep between a couple of Walleye as he's sandwiched in between. He loses an edge. Racing in that time is Ouellet. Oh, a shot right in front. And now you're going to have Thorne exchanging some pleasantries with Kenton Miller, as that time Kenton Miller thought he took a shot from behind. The Komets have really carried the play here in period 3. 13:37 to go. The Komets lead Toledo 3-1. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Way, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Handed stick actually goes over more like a right-handed shot, and the puck is cleared to center ice. Jace Coyle in his own zone dumps ahead to Miller, who just feathers ahead that time to Ouellet. Now behind the net again, Caruth. Dangerous backhanded pass, and hustling in are the Komets. Carter got to it. Miller, Ouellet tries to leave for Miller. A lot of traffic. I'll tell you, Ouellet is a load and very strong in his skates. Wraparound attempt that time by Carter, and it won't go. Now here comes Carter deep in the corner. Again, looked like a bit of a cross-check by Chartrain, but the referee, Frederick LeBlanc, for the most part, has let the teams play. Now here come the Walleye breaking out. Emerson Clark, as he comes along the boards, tries to slide by Coyle, centered, and it's steered away that time with the quick stick of Meisner. Now deep in the Komet zone, Coyle will just jump out with the puck, come ahead. Ouellet, crafty move again. Here comes Ouellet. He has a goal tonight. Like he was hooked a bit by Thorne. The puck goes deep. Komets go for a line change. Wheeling out is Sova. But again, the Komets with the great forecheck as Fleming stepped into the passing lane. Sova, a little bit of frustration, playing the puck with a high stick. Here's Denis Pepin. Oh, he couldn't load it up. Simone Denis Pepin comes to Southorn. Snapshot. That bounces off of Fleming. Racing for it is Auger. He dives for it, and Nicastro breaks out for the Walleye. He serves it ahead. Racing in is Travis Novak. Marino tries to pick the puck away. Kept in by Gilbert. There's a shot right on and gloved high off the blocker as Novak was bidding for a goal. And the Komets will clear the crease of Walleye as the captain Rogers trying to crash the net. And now you have Gilbert, who is the only Walleye to solve Ben Meisner, skating up and having a conversation with him, maybe saying, "You're playing awfully well tonight." Komets have now outshot the Walleye for the game, 31-25, 12:04 to go in period 3. It's 3-1 Fort Wayne. Cy Nutkovich is chased out of the face-off circle. Louis-Marc Auger wins the draw. Quick shot that time is deflected wide and right at the side of the cage. Meisner will say, I'm covering this for a face-off, as Hirschfeld was bidding for a goal. Well, the Komets are in the thick of a stretch of playing 10 of 11 games against division rivals in the North Division, and primarily Evansville, Kalamazoo, and Toledo. Now again off the draw, Hirschfeld, top of the circle. He's hounded by Hartman, and the puck comes free to center ice. Just flipped back in by Phil Rock, chased down by Gates. Oh, coming in to steal the puck, hustling all the way, was Kevin Lynch, back to the point. That's just served right around the net. Pinching in is Gleason. Toledo, a lot more desperation now on the forecheck. Hartman can't get it out of the zone. Hirschfeld keeps it in. Now to center ice. It just glances off the stick of Embach, but I think they're going to call it an icing on the Komets. Embach, he felt he maybe got a little piece of timber on that, but they say no, and that'll be icing against the Komets. So the faceoff goes back into the Fort Wayne zone to the right of Komet goaltender Ben Meisner, who has had an outstanding game between the pipes. And again, if you missed it, the number one goalie, Andrei Makarov, did not make the trip, still suffering concussion-like symptoms from a collision he suffered late in the game Wednesday at the Coliseum against Kalamazoo, still having some more neurological tests. So Max Strang, who was in training camp as a goalie, has been signed as the backup. Now Emerson Clark being muscled off by Hartman, and here come the K's looking to break out. Nutkovich, Sidlowski, drive from the top of the circle, right on, and saved by Caruth. Well, this line of Embach and Nutkovich and Sidlowski have really brought the lunch pail to work tonight. Now a line change for the K's as Miller is out with Carter and Ouellet. And again, Matt Carter and Christian Ouellet coming to the Komets in a trade Monday for the disgruntled Mike Vasquez and also defenseman Nick Pokoluk. And tell you what, they paid dividends. Here's Carter, snaps it high over the glove, that time of Caruth. Ouellet, though, along the high boards, keeps it in. Carter circles, tries to center. There's a wraparound. That's blocked. As on the ice is a sprawling Caruth. Now Gilbert tries to feed it out. Comes cross-ice Martini. A little too strong as the pass for Ouellet, but Carter digging behind the net. Now he does battle with Niedermal. Boy, this is just a great line, working hard. Ouellet spins, tries to feather it ahead. Carter can't get the backhand on it. And now Rogers looks to clear, but the Komets with a great forecheck. It's at center ice, but Coyle controls. Now he tries to spin away from Kyle Rogers. Goes deep into the zone. There is no ice, so Caruth has to play it up around the high boards. Sova, cross-ice pass. Here's Novak busting in off the wing. Tries to slide by Southorn. No, but following up on the play is Gilbert. Looks for a backhand centering feed. Goes right through the crease. And here comes Auger breaking out with teammates. Auger. Good job by Fleming to stay on side. Fed behind the net. Now Fleming is rubbed off, that time by Sova. Comes back near the point. Auger tries to retain control. Chips it off the stick of Hirschfeld. Fleming behind the net. Komets are just a stronger team right now, especially in the attacking zone. Now Toledo a little frustrated. 9:38 to go in period 3. The Komets lead 3-1. Lynch tries to slide by Southorn. He races into the corner. Denis Pepin puts a good body into him. Now Auger tries to dig it out to Southorn. Southorn takes a look, wraps it off the boards, and it comes ahead to Marino. Komets with a chance on a 2-on-1 if they can make it happen quickly. Marino snaps the shot right on. Blocked away by the chest of Caruth. Back behind the goal, Auger caroms it off the boards. Hartman at the high wall. There's a shot right on. Oh, rebound by Marino, and it looked like it caromed off the post. Wide open net. Komets had a chance to really put the nail in, but a tough break, and now breaking out as Joe Gleason, but the Komets are just completely frustrating Toledo with the neutral zone trap. Now here comes Louis-Marc Auger as he just dumps it in. Hartman tries to win the race. Aubrey puts the body on him. Now with some space, Embach tries to feed it ahead. Nutkovich is bodied off the play that time by Stefan Thorne. Now it's Toledo looking for a quick scoring chance. Right in front it comes. A lot of traffic, and the K's chip it out. Boy, bodies flying everywhere, and breaking out now is Sean Sidlowski. The K's on a 2-on-3. Sidlowski tries to feed ahead to Embach. Embach behind the net. He is stepped into heavily that time by C.J. Chartrain. Now here come the Walleye looking to break out. Aaron Clark bumped off the play by Kenton Miller. Chartrain pays the price, and also that time Emerson Clark hits the ice heavily. Intercepted near the top of the blue line. Chartrain keeps it in. There's a shot that is just chipped over the shoulder of Meisner. Emerson Clark steps heavily into Kenton Miller. Right now the Walleye really playing with desperation. Komets looking to clear the zone and preserve this 3-1 lead with 7:50 to go in period 3. Set high off the glass, and Toledo still pinches in. De Castro comes cross ice. Big drive, and that whistles wide as that time Sova bidding for a goal. Comes all the way around the boards into neutral ice. And now it'll be line changes all around. Pass goes up the middle. Feathered ahead to Novak. Novak tries to dump it deep. Great job of pinching by Southorn. Pass a little too strong and behind Carter. That time Sova tries to get it ahead. Intercepted by Miller. He leaves for Carter. Carter doing a little dance. Looks to center in front. Karam's off the skate that time of Rogers, but the K's look to control. Ouellet. Again, a little toe drag. Dances in. Spins. Now at the near wall. Comes across. Racing in is Denis Pepin. Denis Pepin is in deep. Komets need somebody to cover the point. Centered in front. Ouellet can't quite finish. Boy, Christian Ouellet is just so strong on his pins. Ouellet again comes away with the puck. Tries to center. Intercepted by Rogers. Walleye looking to break out. Here's Rogers. That was almost offside, but it went off a Komet skate. Now that is going to be a delayed offside. As behind the net, Southorn collects for the Komets. Walleye going for a change. Southorn, a dangerous pass into no man's land, and the Walleye have a chance. Here it comes in front. Southorn dives and blocks the centering attempt. Hirschfeld in the corner. Komets look to break out. Here comes Marino with speed. Now Marino leaves for Fleming. Goes off a Lynch's skate. Deep into the corner, but quickly cycling back is Niedermall. End-to-end action here with 6:14 to go. Komets up by 2. Now quickly a backhanded centering feed by Aubrey. There's a big shot. Oh, look out! And they're saying it went in. Oh, my! It was just thrown in front by Richard Niedermall. It bounced off of Meisner. Looked like it was sitting in the crease, but immediately the referee, Frederick LeBlanc, said it crossed the line and is a goal, and that makes it 3-2. What a change of events this could be. The time of the goal, 13:56. And we'll see if they give it to Richard Niedermall. It was a bad angle shot. It got under the shoulder of Meisner. And I believe they're going to give that goal to Niedermall. And if so, that would be his 4th of the season. What a turn of events this could be. Auger flips it ahead to Fleming deep in the zone. It is Richard Niedermall with the bad angle goal that really looked like it got caught right around the shoulder, under the arm of Meisner, dribbled behind him, and the referee, Frederick LeBlanc, said it did crawl across the goal line. Aubrey and Hirschfeld get the assists for the Walleye. Komets ice the puck, and now it's game on with 5.5 minutes to go. And now it's a 3-2 hockey game. Just when the Komets looked like they had control, and it was a couple of minutes ago, Brandon Marino had a chance to bury one off of a rebound, and it looked like it just caromed off the goalpost. And on just a bad angle shot that just seemed to kind of handcuff Meisner. He's still shaking his head down in the Komet crease, and it's what I talked about earlier on the Ouellet goal. Throw it on the net, and oftentimes good things will happen. Now Jace Coyle around the boards. Marino can't handle. Toledo keeps it in. They are trying to set up a lot of guys in front of Meisner to create some traffic. There'll be a lot of pressure by the Walleye. K's can't clear. De Castro, top of the circle. A shot that time is fanned on by Kyle Rogers. Oh, a shot that time by Gilbert. Just whistles wide. Komets look to clear, and they do manage to get it out of the zone. We are now 5 minutes to go in regulation. Here come the Walleye again. Gilbert gets the pass over, centered in front that time as Novak was trying to get it in front, and now a penalty is going to be called. And it will be on the Komets as Sidlowski goes off for high sticking at the 15:01 mark. What a turn of events this has been for the Komets. 4:59 to go in regulation. We have timeout. 3-2 Fort Wayne. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Fort Wayne's only home for sports radio.
Back to My Komets Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne. Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Face off in the Komet zone, and now it's the Walleye on a critical power play, and immediately Denise Pepin gets a hold of the puck and fires at the length of the rink. Well, the penalty went to Sidlowski on the high sticking at 15:01. Walleye looking for the equalizer. Lynch wraps it in. Good job by Meisner to stop the puck behind the net, tries to clear, and Fleming just golfs it the length of the rink. So here at the Huntington Center with 4.5 minutes to go in regulation, Toledo on the power play. And busting in is Gilbert. Rogers on the right wing. Tries to center it in front. Oh, almost chipped home that time by Gilbert, just a little wide. Komets break out in a 2-on-1. Here comes Marino. Oh, into the skates of Miller. Miller still has it. Fans on the shot. He's bumped from behind that time by Rogers. Kays had a great opportunity, but couldn't quite click on the pass. Now weaving in is Gilbert. He tries to drop it back, but nobody home on the point. Now 4 minutes even left in regulation. A minute to go in the Walleye power play. Dumped deep behind the net, and again, Meisner, a great job of stopping the puck. As Southorn rings it around the boards, it takes a wild carom, spinning his Thorn right in front, and kicked aside by Meisner. Kays break out with a possible 3-on-1. Long pass as rushing back that time was Auger. Looked like he hooked Miller. Miller centers in front just behind Marino. End-to-end action. Now here comes Aaron Clark. Clark ragging the puck a little bit. Now waits for his teammates to get out there. Clark finds the zone. Stefan Thorn comes cross ice. Hirschfeld, top of the circle, centers, right on! Oh, that just goes wide as Auger was bidding for the equalizer. Now Aaron Clark behind. Here's Louis Mark Auger at the low hash. Auger takes a look, looking for a centering pass. Shot kicked aside by Meisner as the Walleye trying to clog the slot right in front of Meisner. To the point. Gleason comes to the top of the circle. Now Gleason looks to tee it up. Wrist shot! Heavy traffic! Oh, it's kicked aside again. Now Thorn feeds it back. Here comes Sidlowski. The penalty is up. Shot right on and kicked out of there by Meisner. Big battle for the puck as Hartman and Thorn hit the ice. Toledo keeps it in. Cross-ice pass. Aubrey has it. Aubrey tries to steer past. Coyle looks for it in front. Goes off the side of the net. Now Sidlowski has for the Komets. 2.5 minutes to go from Toledo. Here come the Komets looking to get it in deep. That time it looked like Fleming was interfered with by Nicastro. This will be a great finish here at the Huntington Center. Now coming out is Sova. Sova to Nicastro, who just dumps it high and deep into the Komet zone. Meisner again leaves. Denise Pepin right in front, but could not get a stick on it, was Novak. Flipped ahead. Komets just looking to get the puck deep now as Toledo, you can tell, playing with desperation and urgency and really stepping up the tempo. Off the board, Southorn controls, pursued by Gilbert. Now it comes up high, but the Komets can't quite clear. And now deep in the zone, here's Denise Pepin. Rings it around the boards. Ouellet stops it, tries to chip it ahead with the backhand in neutral ice. Sova, almost has it intercepted by Carter. Komets need to put the forecheck pressure on. Here come the Walleye as they gather, get fresh troops out there. And we now have 100 seconds left in regulation. Rushing in with speed is Auger. Auger tries to get on the wing, looking to center. He's bumped off by Denise Pepin with that long reach. A drive. Oh, trying to tip it home that time was Kevin Lynch. It goes high off the glass, and on they play. We're going to look to see the Toledo goaltender is pulled. Pressure in front. The extra attacker on. Gleason loads it up. That is off the blocker that time of Meisner. Now the K's have to clear the zone. Back behind the net. Looking to center is Lynch. Taken off the play by Marino. Lynch just chops him. And tipped ahead. It's an open net. Let's see if Carter can put it on. He just dumps it deep in the corner, high off the glass. 1 minute to go in regulation. The Toledo net is empty. Can the Komets withstand the charge? Racing in now is the defender, Niedermal. Big hit, big collision that time as Auger hits the ice heavily. Can the Komets clear? is just fed ahead that time by Fleming. Marino pursues. Another rush as Thorne dumps it in deep for the Walleye. Coyle takes a look deep in the zone, flips the high pop-up. Collected by Marino. Again, just tries to dump it in. 30 seconds to go in regulation. Again, the Walleye with the extra attacker. One more big rush. Coming in off the wing. Centered in front. Martini clears. Auger can't get it out of the zone. There is a shot right on from the point by Sova and gloved by Meisner. Komets are sprawled all over the ice, exhausted. Marino and Auger. Unbelievable. 17 seconds to go. Komets lead 3-2. The K's have outshot the Walleye 35-30. The Toledo net is empty. If ever there was a time where the Komets needed to win a faceoff, this is it. And it looks like we'll have a 30-second timeout called by the Walleye. That actually helps the Komets as far as getting some of their top players back on the ice if Gary Graham so chooses. Now, what a game it has been. The K's spotted Toledo a 1-0 first period lead on a goal by David Gilbert. The K's with 3 goals in period 2. Auger, Ouellet. Got a great goal by Jace Coyle. Needham scored with just over 6 minutes to play on a tough angle shot from the high wall at the hash mark to make it 3-2. And ever since then, Toledo has been pouring on the pressure. The Komets 17 seconds away, though, from a big road victory. Let's see if they can close it out. Fleming on the draw for the Komets against Aubrey. And it's drawn back to Toledo. The K's race out. Slipping the check is Castro. Tries to center in front. A lot of white shirts in front. Again, Toledo can't quite center. Southorn looks to clear. Oh, Castro, a shot right on. Steered aside by Meisner. 5 seconds to go. The Komets are going to win it. 2-1. Buzzer, and the K's have done it. A tremendous road victory by the Fort Wayne Komets. What an effort by the K's as they stave off tremendous pressure by the Walleye over the final 5 minutes of play. And the K's come away with a huge road win, 3-2 over Toledo. Post-game show is coming up next. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
And now, back to My Komets Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne. Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.